Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another edition of Pandora Fronteris. This is our Kill Team map-based campaign that we're playing for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team, and this is the beginning of turn number 3 of that map-based campaign. And as you guys can see on the screen, this is what the map looks like for Pandora Fronteris after our turn 3 actions. So let's go and talk about each of the kill teams real quick and exactly see what they've done. So first of all, starting with my kill team for the orcs, as you can see, we're marked up by the green hexes. I decided to invade from hex number 2 to hex number 1. That territory was unoccupied with a minor terrain feature. There was nobody occupying it, so I was able to secure that terrain feature. And then I was able to also invade hex number 5, and nothing was inside there either, so I managed to claim those 2 hexes no problem. So I have a pretty uneventful turn number 3 on this one. However, my friend Scream of the Emo with the Gene Stealer cult of the Red Faction, though, he decided to invade hex number 14, which was unoccupied, so he managed to secure that piece of territory. And he also tried to invade hex number 15, which holds a critical asset inside that map, which basically means that if he manages to capture that hex, he'll be able to add additional specialists for him on this one. At the same time, moving on to the orange territory, which is by my buddy Dark Lord Mac. He's playing the Cradle of Filth of the Death Guard. He decided to invade both hex number 20 as well as hex number 30. Both of those contain mission critical assets, which means that if he's able to capture those territories, he'll be able to level up his commander. And that's the only way you can level up commanders in this campaign setting, is by taking mission critical ones. In fact, that's what this battle port is dedicated today. He's going to fight against Astra Militarum for hex number 20. At the same time, my buddy Sergeant Sigmar, he decides to invade with his Adeptus Astartes from the Indomitus Crusades. He decides to invade hex number 16, which is unoccupied, so he managed to capture that no problem. At the same time, he also decides to invade hex number 13, which contains a monument, which is also heavily defended as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, today's battle report is going to be about the Death Guard invading hex number 20, which is a mission critical asset, and we're going to talk about that battle report today. Alright, so this one is going to be an Assassinate mission that's played between my two friends, Dark Lord Mac as well as King Khalifa. Dark Lord Mac is bringing the Cradle of Filth, his Death Guard kill team, while King Khalifa is playing Bad Company of the Astra Militarum. King Khalifa's forces are the neutral forces in this scenario, so he doesn't really lose anything for losing the battle, or he doesn't win anything either for winning it either. He's just playing the neutral forces for the main players of the campaign. However, Dark Lord Mac is fighting for a mission critical asset, and if he's able to secure it, he will be able to earn himself an additional level for his commander, which would be really good for him as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what kill teams are bringing for this one, you can pause and take a look at your own leisure. Just to let you guys know, you'll notice the rosters are highlighted between yellow and gold colors, and that's to represent the 2 different kill teams that are out for each side moving around the map. Just to give you guys a heads up, the Astra Militarum, the members of their kill teams they'll be fighting in this scenario will be highlighted in blue, and for the Cradle of Filth, for the Death Guard, their assets will be highlighted in yellow. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario rules for this one is Assassinate. The objectives of the Death Guard is trying to kill the Astra Militarum's leader. So in this case, the Cradle of Filth is trying to kill Gregor Eisenhorn, who is the commander of the Astra Militarum in this campaign. If they succeed, they win, and if not, the Astra Militarum wins. The battle length is 4 battle rounds, and of course on anything beyond that, you roll a d6 of 3+, and if it does, you keep on going to turns 5 and 6. If not, it immediately ends. And the reward for this one is that if the Cradle of Filth able to defeat the Astra Militarum, they'll be able to secure a mission critical asset, which means that their commander can be leveled up as well. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. Alright, so here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, my friends are playing on a standard kill team size table. My friend King Khalifa, as well as the Bad Company of Astra Militarum, are located on the left hand side of the table. At the same time, on the right hand side is where the Death Guard is located as well. So with the battle plan going on, I really don't know what my friends' battle plans are on this one. I'm just the arbitrator right now in this particular scenario. All I'm doing is taking photos of my friends' armies for the battle report, so I really don't know. Pretty much from what well, actually I take that back. I do kind of know what the battle plan is. My friend King Khalifa, his plan is just to play keep away the entire time. He's going to move Gregor Eisenhorn all around the table just to avoid him from getting killed, because that's pretty much the objective the Death Guard are going with. At the same time, the Death Guard is probably going to try to kill him as quickly as possible, I imagine, because that's their objective for this scenario. So with the battle plan over, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. Alright, so starting with the Astra Militarum, on the bottom left-hand corner we have Wesley. He is a guardsman gunner who's equipped with a sniper rifle as well as frag grenades. He's also got sniper abilities because he is the kill team sniper specialist. Alright, so in the middle of the table here we got 3 more members of the kill team. On the top there, that is Mad Donna. Mad Donna is a Tempestus Scion gunner. She is armed with a hotshot volley gun, I think is what it's called. Oh, sorry, hotshot, yeah, volley gun is what she's armed with. Also frag as well as crack grenades as well. She's just a normal fire team member for the most part. Right in the center, of course, is the kill team's commander. That is the character Gregor Eisenhorn. He is the commander for the kill team as well. He's got an Artifice Bolt Pistol as well as the Barbarous Satyr as well as Ruin Staff. He's also got the Strategist ability as well, so because that earns +1 to his command points for the turn as well. He's also got the Psybolt as well as Enforce Will ability, where he basically can kind of control people with his mind for the most part. So pretty powerful psychic ability. Right next to him, of course, is Bubba Zanetti. Bubba Zanetti is another guardsman. He's just basically armed with a last gun, frag grenade. He's also got a Voxcaster. He's also the kill team's communications specialist. And finally, on the top left-hand side, we got Mad Teddy. Mad Teddy is a guardsman for, sorry, not guardsman, a Scion gunner. There we go, for the Tempestus Scions. He's basically got a plasma gun, frag grenade, as well as crack grenade, and he's also just a fire team member for the most part. Alright, so from there we go across the other side of the table to the Death Guard, the Cradle of Filth. In the back, that is Festimus the Bellman. He is a tally man. He is also the kill team commander for the Death Guard. He's also the commander model as well. He's armed with a plasma pistol. He's also got blight grenades as well as crack grenades. He's also a strategist specialist, which means there's +1 to his for the command points of this one as well. And then right next to him on the very bottom there, we also got some members of the kill team, which are also, Plague Marines for the most part. On the bottom right hand side we have Shurlo the Riven. He is a Plague champion. He's armed with a plasma gun. He's also got blight grenades, crack grenades, a Plague sword, as well as a power fist. He's also the leader specialist for his kill team as well. On the top left hand side there, that character is called Goldcore Muttermold. He is a Death Guard gunner. He is armed with a plasma gun, blight grenades, as well as crack grenades, and he's a fire team member. Right next to him on the bottom there, that is Gorlock Muttermold. He is a Plague Marine gunner, armed with a blight launcher. He's also got blight grenades, as well as crack grenade, as well as a plague knife, and he's also the heavy specialist for his kill team. And right beneath him is Bubo the Rancid. He is a just normal Plague Marine with bolt gun. He's got blight grenades, crack grenades, a plague knife, as well as an Icon of Despair as well, and he's also a fire team member. And down below, of course, we have our 2 Poxwalkers. We have Briggs as well as Darrow. They're both armed with improvised weapons. And then right next to him is Malignus Diresong. Malignus Diresong is the combat specialist for his kill team. He is a Plague Marine fighter who's armed with blight grenades, crack grenades, as well as a Flail of Corruption. And he's also packing a plague knife. And that pretty much makes up the deployment for the Death Guard on this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both of my friends will off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and the Death Guard managed to get the initiative on this one, so my friend Dark Lord Matt gets to go first. The first thing he decides to do real quick is to use up 2 of his command points to basically give a Blessings of the Gods ability off on one of his characters, which is Gorlock Muttermold, who's the heavy specialist armed with the Blight Launcher. For the rest of the battle, he's got +1 to hit as well as +1 to wound, which makes him super deadly considering he's got a really good weapon in the most part. And that was the very first thing he decided to do before he moved anybody. So with the first turn over with the tactic use, go talk about the movement phase real quick. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 after the move phase. This photo is taken after both sides have moved a course, and as you can see, for the most part, the Death Guard just kind of take the offensive for the most part. They're Poxwalkers, followed by Malignus Diresong, Bubo the Rancid, as well as Festimus the Bellman. Basically, they advance forward as quickly as they possibly can, getting to the middle of the battlefield, making their way directly towards the Imperial Guard. At the same time, Dark Lord Mac, of course, puts ready tokens on Shurlo the Riven, as well as Gorlock Muttermold, as well as Goldcore Muttermold, Mold. Those guys are armed with 2 plasma guns as well as a blight launcher, so that they can shoot first during the shooting phase. Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, King Khalifa decides to put ready markers on both Wesley as well as Mad Teddy, so that way they can shoot with their sniper rifle and plasma gun respectively. At the same time, Gregor Eisenhorn as well as Mad Donna and Bubba Zanetti, they advance up to the top left-hand corner using that ramp as cover. Gregor Eisenhorn is kind of hiding in the back there to make sure he gets covered. At the same time, my friend King Khalifa also decides to use a scenario-specific tactic, which basically costs him 2 command points. And what ends up happening is that they cannot, Dark Lord Matt can't target his leader unless he's, of course, the closest model to him. And that makes sense because that's the whole assassination mission. So with the turnover, let's go and talk about the movement phase and the close-ups. So as you can see here, here's a close-up of the top there. We got Goldcorn Motor Mold at the top as well as our Gerlach Motor Mold. The Motor Mold brothers got Overwatch tokens placed on us. That way they can shoot first during the shooting phase, ready markers. And right next to him, of course, is Shurlo the Riven. He's also got a ready marker him as well. And here's a close-up of Festivus the Bellman, Bubo the Rancid, Malignus Dire Song, as well as his 2 Plague Bearers moving as quick as they possibly can across the battlefield to engage the Astra Militarum. And here's a close-up of the Astra Militarum in the top left-hand corner. As you can see, Gregor Eisenhorn is kind of hiding behind that little ramp there, so that way he can't get shot. At the same time, Mad Donna and Bubba Zanetti are also there with them in order to protect him. And here's a close-up of Mad Teddy with an Overwatch token placed on him, so that way he can shoot first during the shooting phase. And another ready token put directly onto Wesley, so that way he can shoot first as well. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the psychic phase. And during the psychic phase, my friend King Khalifa decides to take first blood on this one. He casts his Enforce Will ability off directly onto Festivus the Bellman, which means that Festivus the Bellman is now enfeebled, which means now that he basically either shoots during the shooting phase as if he was a member of the Astra Militarum, or fights during the fight phase as well. King Khalifa decides he could use him for the fighting phase, and because, Festivus the Bellman's a little bit deadlier in close combat than he is with shooting. So with the psychic phase over with, you go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, first blood goes directly to the Cradle of Filth. My friend Dark Lord Mac decides to activate Shurlo the Riven first using one of his ready markers. He opens fire with his plasma gun, and because within 24 inches of his rapid fire range, he opens up with just a normal shot, manages to hit him, even with the -1 to hit because of the enshrouding ability right next to the terrain. My friend Dark Lord Mac rolled a 6 on that one, managed to hit him as well. And needless to say, the 2 damage went right through his armor as well. And unfortunately for my friend King Khalifa, he goes out of action. He is down for the count, and he is out. So -1 for the Astra Militarum. And the exact same thing happens over here with Mad Donna as well. I believe it was Gerlach Motor Mold, who is the heavy armed with the Blight Launcher. He was the one who was able to put her out of action pretty quickly as well. Goldcorn did try to open fire with his plasma gun directly into Bubba Zanetti, but unfortunately for him, though, he missed his shot. So because of that, that pretty much rounds out the shooting phase for the Death Guard. Meanwhile, King Khalifa then activates Mad Teddy. Mad Teddy opens up with his plasma gun, decides to supercharge that bad boy, as he decides to do, which is actually kind of crazy. Aims it directly onto Bubo the Rancid and manages to put that guy out of action as well with 1 shot. Fortunately for my buddy Dark Lord Mac, he failed his disgustingly resilient roll, so because of that, he goes crashing face down, and he automatically goes out of action as well. So the shooting phase over with, you go directly to the fight phase. So in the combat phase, my friend King Khalifa decides to use his enfeebled ability off on Festivus the Bellman. Festivus the Bellman piles in directly into Malignus Dire Song and decides to swing at it directly towards him. Unfortunately for my friend, though, King Khalifa, though, his attacks kind of flubbed, and that's pretty lucky for my friend Dark Lord Mac, because Malignus Dire Song is pretty deadly in close combat, and luckily for him, though, he managed to dodge all those hits going his way, which is pretty obvious, all things considered. So with the combat phase over with, that pretty much ends turn number 1 for the Kill Team campaign so far. So here's an orbital shot of the entirety of the battlefield at the end of turn number 1. As you can see, there's kind of like a little bit of a traffic jam taking place in the middle there, with Festivus the Bellman trying to kill Malignus Dire Song because he got possessed by Gregor Eisenhorn. At the same time, the defenses for the Astra Militarum is slowly collapsing. They lost 2 members of their kill team with only 3 members left. At the same time, the Death Guard are pretty much intact. They only lost 1 guy so far, so things are not looking very good for the Astra Militarum. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2. My friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2, and the Astra Militarum managed to get the initiative on this one. So King Khalifa was able to take the initiative on this one. And of course, my friends earn their command points for the turn. Astra Militarum has 2 command points, while the Death Guard has 3. And this photo is taken after the movement phase once again. So, for the most part, King Khalifa decides to play defensively. He puts ready markers on both Mad Teddy as well as on Bubba Zanetti, and he also does exactly the same thing with Gregor Eisenhorn, keeping him hidden beneath that on-ramp so that way he doesn't get shot at. For the rest of the turn, as you can see here, the Death Guard just kind of storm as quickly as they possibly can. Festimus the Bellman, Malignus Dire Song, as well as their 2 Poxwalkers, they try to advance quickly as they can across the battlefield. And exact same thing happens with the Muttermold brothers. Shurlo the Riven, Gerlach Muttermold, as well as Golkor Muttermold. Oh my god, Dark Lord Mac, your names. Oh, these names are killing me. But anyways, Golkor Muttermold, he decides to advance those guys forward because all 3 of those guys are pretty much armed with assault weapons for the most part. So they can move across the battlefield pretty quickly and still be able to shoot for the most part. So they start hustling as quick as they can in order to engage their targets. And that pretty much makes the move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the move phase for the Astra Militarum. As you can see, King Khalifa is playing defensively with ready markers on his fighters, where Gregor Eisenhorn remains kind of hidden, so that way he doesn't get shot at for the most part. So that's where he's hiding. And here's a close-up of the entirety of the Cradle of Filth, moving as quickly as they can across the battlefield in order to bum rush the Astra Militarum and basically bring the pain. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the Psychic phase. And in the Psychic phase, once again, Gregor Eisenhorn decides to use Enforce Will directly onto Malignus Dire Song this time, and basically makes him enfeebled, which means that the Malignus Dire Song can either shoot or fight during the fight phase. And my buddy King Khalifa is probably going to use him for the combat phase because Malignus Dire Song is a beast in close combat, especially with that play flail that he carries, and the flail of corruption that he carries, and at the same time he also has expert fighter ability because he's also a combat specialist. So that part was pretty nuts. So with the Psychic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, it's been kind of 50-50 for the Astra Militarum. First of all, one of the Poxwalkers does get blasted by what's his name, by Bubba Zanetti. He opens fire with his last gun, was able to put that guy out of action. So kudos to my friend King Khalifa. However, Bubba Zanetti did get shot in exchange with the Blight Launcher. There we go. Golkor Muttermold Gerlach Muttermold opened fire with his Blight Launcher directly into him, so that part was pretty crazy. And at the same time, Mad Teddy also gets sniped by, I believe it was Golkor Muttermold with his plasma gun, was able to put him out of action as well, so that part was all kinds of crazy from my friend King Khalifa. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase, and just as I predicted, my friend King Khalifa decides to activate Malignus Dire Song, who is currently under the Enforce Will ability from Gregor Eisenhorn. He decides to pile in directly into Festimus the Bellman, engages him in close combat, and nails him with that Flail of Corruption, and puts him out of action. Just the number of hits he was able to get off on Festimus the Bellman was absolutely insane. It was so many hits and so many wounds, not even his disgusting resilient rolls was able to protect him, nor his pretty good armor save. So because of that, the commander goes crashing face down, and he basically goes out of action. And that brings us to the end of turn number 2. As you can see in this photo, the only member of the Astra Militarum still left on the table is Gregor Eisenhorn, while the rest of the Death Guard are pretty much still in strength. They are kind of sad though, because Malignus Dire Song just managed to kill their commanders, so that part was kind of sad, but Dark Lord Map pretty much has the advantage on this one as well. So with the turn number 2 over with, you go directly to the top of turn number 3, and both of my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Death Guard on this photo. So as you can see in this photo, pretty much for the most part, the Death Guard just move up as quick as they can. Malignus Dire Song, as well as one of the Poxwalkers, they charge directly into Gregor Eisenhorn to engage him in close combat. Meanwhile, Shurlo the Riven and the Muttermold brothers, Golkor and Gerlach, they move up as quick as they can as well, directly to the off-ramps, that way they can do any shooting if anybody's left standing for the most part. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on that one. Alright, so here's a close-up of the move phase. As you can see, I think that Poxwalker's name is Darrow. Darrow, as well as Malignus Dire Song, engage in close combat with Gregor Eisenhorn, charging him directly in close combat. As you see, Golkor, Gerlach, as well as Shurlo the Riven, they moved up as quick as they can in order to engage, provide basically overwatching fire for the most part for their assaulting Death Guard members. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the Psychic phase. And in the psychic phase, Gregor Eisenhorn opens up with Psybolt directly into Malignus Diresong, puts him out of action with a mortal wound, which is absolutely fantastic. My buddy Dark Lord Mac, when he rolled for his disgusting resilient roll, he rolled a 1, so because of that, Malignus Diresong goes crashing face down into the dirt, because basically got blasted with psychic energy and was blasted off the table for the most part, which means the only thing engaging Gregor Eisenhorn at this point is that Poxwalker. And since no one can shoot because everyone's engaged in close combat, we go directly to the combat phase, and needless to say, Gregor Eisenhorn had no problem whatsoever putting the hurt directly onto that Poxwalker. Managed to hit him with the Barbara Satyr, I believe is what the weapon he managed to use on his sword. Unfortunately for our friend Dark Lord Mac, he flubbed his disgusting resilient rolls, and Daros goes crashing face down in the dirt and goes out of action as well. And that pretty much ends the turn for this one. So here's an overhead shot at the end of turn number 3 on this one. As you can see, Gregor Eisenhorn is still alive, but he still has 3 more Death Guard Plague Marines he's got to worry about, all of which are carrying, pretty heavy weaponry, 2 armored plasma guns, 1 armored Blight Launcher, so he has his work cut out for him for the most part, for my friend King Khalifa. It's absolutely insane to see what kind of resistance the Astra Militarum are putting up against the Death Guard. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4, and both of my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Astra Militarum, and my friend King Khalifa gets to go first, and this photo is taken after the movement phase, and pretty much for the most part what my friend decided to do is decided to take Gregor Eisenhorn, and he advanced him as quick as he can around the building there to the top of the screen. He basically goes in the back of that real quick in order to try to dodge as much as he can away from the Plague Marines. At the same time, my friend Dark Lord Mac decides to pursue with all 3 Plague Marines, basically puts them into a firing line so that way they can open fire directly into Gregor Eisenhorn. So here's a close-up of the movement phase. As you can see, the brothers Mother Mold as well as Shirley the Riven, they've basically taken up a firing line position, open to fire directly into Gregor Eisenhorn, and Gregor Eisenhorn is on the other side of that building as well. And that pretty much makes it the food movement phase. Now we skip the psychic phase, and the reason why we do that is because unfortunately Gregor Eisenhorn failed his psychic ability. He tried to shoot Psybolt once again, but unfortunately though, I think he rolled like a 3, so because of that psychic ability does not go off, and that psychic phase ends, which takes us directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase, of course, the Death Guard had no problem taking out Gregor Eisenhorn. I believe it was Shirlo the Riven that managed to finish him off. Golkor and Gerlach open up with their Blight Launcher as well as their Plasma Gun, bringing down Gregor Eisenhorn by 1 more wound. And then eventually Shirlo the Riven that managed to finish him off with a coup de grace or the Plasma Shot to the head and puts him directly out of action as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that takes directly to the end of the game, with the Death Guard managing to pull a victory on this one, even though they were losing people left and right, and the Astra Militarum put up way much more of a defense than my buddy Dark Lord Mac was expecting. Either way, though, the game is now officially over. So with that being said, we're going to go to the After Action Report because this battle report is now over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now it's time for the post games. The first group we're going to talk about is Bad Company at the Astra Militarum. And if you're wondering what those yellow highlighted pieces are for, those are for the guys for the second kill team that's also going to be fighting later on in this turn, because you basically have to have 2 kill teams, and that's basically what's going on. So the ones who are blank or have no color on them, those are the ones who just currently got done fighting. So for the Bad Company, for injuries, all 5 members of the kill team were injured, which were Gregor Eisenhorn, Bubba Zanetti, Wesley, Mad Donna, and Mad Teddy, and luckily for my buddy King Khalifa, all 5 made full recoveries. For advancements, Wesley leveled up to level 2 as well, getting +1 to his hit because he learned the sharpshooter ability. As for the resources, recruitment, as well as all the other things you usually do with a kill team, that part is not in void. And the reason why is because this is a neutral force, so it doesn't really matter what kind of materials they have, because all they're doing is just occupying the unclaimed spaces on the battlefield. And currently the kill team battle force now is at 202 points. Alright, so now we go to the Cradle of Filth as well, and if you're wondering what's up with the blue highlighted ones, those turquoise highlighted members are another kill team that will be fighting in another battle report later on and during turn number 3. So for kill team, for the Cradle of Filth, they actually suffered 5 injuries on this one. Festimus the Bellman, Bubo the Rancid, Briggs number 2, and Darrows, all 4 of those guys make full recoveries no problem, and Malignus Diresong actually gets a hard knocks injury, which means he gets +1 to his experience point as well. For advancements, Festimus the Bellman, he levels up up to level 2, and the reason why is because this hex contained a mission critical asset, which means that every single time you capture one of those, your commander levels up to the next level. And in our campaign, that is the only way that a commander can level up, is by taking those mission critical assets on the map-based campaign. So Festus the Bellman is now a level 2 tallyman. At the same time, Malignus Dyrison, the combat specialist for this kill team, he also levels up to level 2 as well. Learns the warrior adept ability, which means he gets +1 to hit in close combat. Makes him super deadly now when he gets stuck in. For the resources, currently the Death Guard are still stuck at 0 intelligence. They have 2 for material, 1 for morale, as well as 6 for their territory. For the recruitment, they decide not to recruit anybody at this time, and the new kill team force now is at 203 points. Alright, so here's what the map looks like at the end of turn number 3 so far. As you can see, the Death Guard have now successfully captured hex number 20, so now they have a mission critical asset in that hex now. At the same time, the Death Guard will need to fight another battle later on as they try to invade hex number 30, which also holds another mission critical asset, and that won't be taking place later on. And as you can see here, you can see the arrows of the advancement of the invasions left of all the other different kill teams as well. And of course, we'll do battle reports for those kill teams later on during the coming months. So there you have it, you guys. That pretty much ends up battle report number 5 for our Pandora Fronteris map-based campaign for kill team. As always, please feel free to comment, like, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.